Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Now, last video I showed you how to use Docker with Terraform, and this time I'm going to show you how to manage Kubernetes resources via Terraform, as you can see from this article. Now, there's examples for Kind, which is locally on your PC, AWS or EKS, Azure AKS, or Google Cloud via GKE. Now, we're only going to cover the local ones, but if you'd like to cover these for yourself, I will link that link in the description so you can try it out for yourself. And we'll also learn how to convert YAML files to TF files. And also we will deploy the service, and that should be it for this tutorial. So stay tuned. All right, let's get started. Now, before we begin, it's important to understand that Kubernetes can be used with Terraform. Now, Kubernetes is also known as K8s or K8s. Now, you can use this with any application you have. So if you were using Kubernetes, for example, for a web server, or if you were using Nginx, then you can use Terraform. And this website, it shows you why. For example, it talks about unified workflow, full lifecycle management, and also a graph of relationships. So here, this is the section for Kind. So if you're using Kind like I am, then it goes through the steps. You install Kind on Mac OS, you curl, here the configuration example. Here, you create the cluster, you get the clusters, you use kubectl to get the context here. You configure the provider. And this is only if you're using, for example, a token, the TLS certificate credentials, and so on. But we won't be doing any of this. And in fact, we won't be using any of these either, because I'm actually going to show you a much better way of deploying a Kubernetes service with Terraform. You can also deploy with EKS, for example. Now remember, when you use EKS, or AWS in this case, you will have to pay some money, so be aware of that. Now, it's similar to other ones, but again, you will have to set things up on your own. I will have this in the description. Here's one for Azure. So again, Azure is very similar here, and of course Google Cloud. So again, it all depends which one you want to use. I will leave this in the description so you guys can try it out. So, going back to Kind. Now, we've already installed Kind here, but as I mentioned, we won't need any of this because I'm going to show you something else later on in this video. And when I go to my book, now I will go to my bookmarks later on, but I'm going to show you how to take an existing Kubernetes manifest and turn it into a TF file. So I just wanted to go through this first just to give you an idea. Now, note, if you're using Windows, be sure to use Choco, or Chocolatey in this case, and it will be the same exact way. But again, if you want to follow this, make sure you follow it exactly. Just follow all the steps here, and you should be good. But we won't be doing any of this. And the reason is because we'll be using our existing manifest files, and I'm actually going to show you how to do that in the next section. Alright guys, so let's begin. Now, to build a Kubernetes to TF manifest, or essentially, we need to convert our YAML file into a TF file. And to do this, I'm going to use this pre-existing manifest that I created specifically for this. You've seen this already, so in case you didn't, I'll show you anyway. So here we have our deployment with the name YouTube Terraform, Prometheus. We have our metrics. We are going to scrape to true, use the LED port for this. And again, we're using port 5000, and we're going to use the Docker image here. We have the service at port 5000, and then we have our service monitor, which I've covered before. But now we got to turn this into an HCF file. So we're going to copy all of this here. And as you can see, it already did it for us. So let me just take all of this. We're going to copy this to a new file. So we're going to call this new, and we're going to paste this. So let me show you what happened. So here we have the Kubernetes manifest. We have the deployment called YouTube Terraform. We have all the usual information here, but now in a TF format. We have our service. Again, it's the same, just with using different format. And finally, we have our service monitor. Again, it's the same, just in a TF format. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this, and we're going to save this under our Terraform Kubernetes directory, and we're going to call this main.tf. So we're going to open that file because I'm going to show you the providers. So here we have the Kubernetes providers with HashiCorp Kubernetes, and we have our kubeconfig file. We need to make a reference of this because if we don't, it won't work. So it's important to understand this. Now I will have all of this on my GitHub so you guys can follow along. So in the next section, we're going to run the entire demo. Last time I didn't show you the commands in real time, so I promise in this section, in the next section, I will show you all the commands in real time so you get an idea of how it works. So let's get started. Welcome back. I ran into some issues and I had to do many cuts. So this time, hopefully everything goes well. So we are going to do the demo in real time. So let's make sure that everything works. So we will do Terraform validate. And you can see that the configuration is valid. If you don't get this, then you have to go back and fix it. Then we'll do Terraform init. And there we go, we're already done. So we'll do Terraform plan. So again, we're doing this in real time just to make sure everything works. Then of course, we'll do Terraform apply. Then we'll put yes. And then it should create our manifests. And now we're done. So let's go to kubectl get svc. And just to be clear, turns out I actually had to enable the Raspberry Pi because if I didn't, it would not have worked. Then we'll go to kubectl get deploy. Then we'll do kubectl get po just in case, and it is running. Then we'll do kubectl get service monitor and monitoring, and you can see right here on the bottom it says YouTube Terraform. So now everything is working just fine. So we have now successfully integrated Kubernetes to our Terraform.